Well, hi folks, I'm Darren with MyRV Works. Today we have a Dometic RM8505 refrigerator. Works great on AC power, but as soon as we put this thing into LP mode, it faults immediately. See, right out of the gate, when I put it on LP, we have this beeping fault. Put it back on AC mode, it works fine. The cooling unit appears capable of producing cooling, but the gas ignition sequence cannot complete. So the question is not, does this refrigerator work? The question is, why can't it run on propane? When I said that it works on AC, okay, that's this electric heating element. It's connected directly into the board here. It's getting AC power. I've got it plugged into the wall. It's been running for a while, and the thing's getting pretty warm. It's getting pretty hot, okay? AC is working just fine, but it's not working on LP. So the steps that I would want you to follow, I'm going to give you a couple steps that I want you to follow. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to confirm that this unit has proper 12-volt power supply. We've been saying that the refrigerator does not work on LP. That does not mean it does not need 12 volts. It still needs 12 volts power to do all of its safety checks. The flame may be propane down here, but the brain is 12 volts. So we need to confirm we have a good positive ground at the refrigerator, that voltages are working when it's under load, that the ground quality is good. Do you have good 12 volts? That's your first question that you must answer. Good, solid 12 volts. And I might probe here to 12 volts, but I might touch the frame to verify referencing to ground. So when you're checking voltage, you always need to reference something to something. You can't just like take one leg of your meter and just touch something. It always is referenced to another leg. If you're dealing with three-phase, the other phase. If you're dealing with DC, to the chassis. You always need to reference your voltage to something else. I might have a perfect 12 volts here, right? I might be touching down here my frame with the black lead of my meter. My meter's in 12 volts DC voltage mode. And so I touch my meter down here and touch my red meter up here, and I'm getting 12 volts. Yay. The question is, do I get 12 volts plus to minus at the board? Does the board see the plus and minus 12 volts? I understand that I got 12 volts feeding it, and I understand that I've got a good ground here, but does the board have the good 12 volts plus and minus? So there's a good takeaway right there. I have seen this. I did a furnace about a year ago, and the problem was it had a floating ground. The next question that you must ask, once you've identified that you have perfect voltage, step 2 is you need to confirm LP pressure. The manifold pressure is 11 inches of water column. When we get into inches of water column, we're still dealing with pressure. But we could run around, say it's, I think it's like 0.4, 0.5 PSI. So it's not even a full PSI. It's like half of a PSI. So we could run around talking about little bitty voltage or pressures like that. We could talk about ounces of pressure, but they just decided to go with inches of water column. Okay, that's my point there. So we're checking pressure on this thing. We went 11 inches of water column. Okay, some states that you live in, you could do it. Some states you have to be licensed to do it. You need to test the LP on this unit. So we verified we've got good 12 volts. We need to verify we have good LP down here, and it's checked at the appliance. When this thing says 11 inches of water column, it does not say, does the gas stove light? And nor does it say, do you smell ethyl mercaptan? It doesn't say that. It does not say, well, hey, does your furnace still work? It does not say anything like that. It says this appliance needs 11 inches water column, and that is at the input right here. Okay? So just because you smell it, just because your stove works, you might have a kink in the line, you might have debris, you might have oil line, you might have any number of things that are causing it not to get LP pressure at the input of this appliance. Okay? That's the takeaway from there. So that's step 2. The next thing is you're going to listen and observe an ignition attempt. I did that a few minutes ago when I started the video. The second I push that LP button, we could also put it on, automatic, and I can unplug my AC cord. Immediately, right out of the gate, do not pass go, this thing starts beeping at us. So we're not guessing at parts, we're following the sequence. Does the board attempt ignition, yes or no? Do we hear the gas valve try to open? You might hear a little audible click, but just because you hear the click does not mean gas is flowing through it. Okay, so then you're going to check your resistance through the coil. Just because you have a good coil, just because you have proper resistance, does not mean gas is going to flow through this valve. So does a board try to ignite? Yes or no? Is there a flame down here? Yes or no? Does the fault happen before the gas valve opens or after? So these are the things that you're going to have to look at. Those are all clues to direct you on which path to take. Now we're on to step 4. Step 4, we're going to inspect the burner assembly. Okay, one screw holds this whole assembly in. You're going to take this one Phillips screw out, wiggle, 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 take it out. So we're going to look at our burner. This is what I'm asking you to do. We're on step 4 now. We're looking at our burner. We're looking for any block burner path, insects in the burn tube. We're looking at our jet orifice. Now this one has a little piece of tin, if you will, with a little hole. But that hole is a very finely calibrated hole. On some of your other Dometics, you're going to find a man-made ruby that is a perfectly round thing. In my tool bag, I carry a jeweler's loop. I can flip the little lenses and I can look really detailed at that ruby to make sure it's clean. A lot of times it'll have black soot built up on it. I have done jobs where you just go in here and you clean your burner, you clean your ruby, you clean your jet orifice, and guess what? There was insects in there. But we need to make sure that there's a good path for this LP to make it all the way into the burner, and we need to make sure that our burner is clean, that the flue and the baffle are clean. Those are all the things we need to do. Let's jump to step number 5. We need to verify that there is, in fact, a command to start the gas. We've separated the problem from the control board. Let me put it this way. You either have a mechanical problem down here, maybe it's a wiring problem, maybe it's a faulted out gas valve, or maybe you're dealing with it up here. But you notice that the troubleshooting path is going to split. It's going to fork. Are we looking at a control side? Are we looking at a mechanical side? Are we looking at a wiring fault side? So the trail could fork. It could go here because it never tries, or it can come down here. Now, the next step is to verify that you have a spark. Do you have a flame sense? Okay, a flame that lights but cannot be proven is the same as no flame at all as far as a control board is concerned. You humans see the flame, okay, but the board didn't see the flame. The board has to see the flame. Now that's all in the flame rectification. That's all in these electrodes down here where it ionizes and it reads the current through the carbon in the flame, and it tells it coming back up to here that, okay, I'm ionizing. I can move my milliamp current through the flame, the carbon in the flame to ground. Therefore, hey, I have a flame. So the board here is looking for proof that there is in fact a flame. So we've proven that we have 12 volts, yay. We've proven we have 11 inches of water column, yay. We turn it on, we're looking for ignition, we're looking for spark, we're looking for all these types of things. We're seeing if we can get the gas to pass through. And then maybe I have a spark. A spark is something that we're looking for. Maybe I actually have a flame because we really want the flame. But if the flame extinguishes, then the board never saw the flame, even though you human did, okay? Because we're dealing with LP, we're going to follow the LP trail, right? Now, gas comes in here. The LP gas is connected here. I want 11 inches of water column at this point right here. If I do not have 11 inches of water column at this point right here, we go upstream, we adjust our regulator, etc. But let's assume that I have 11 inches of water column right here. It goes through our it's got a redundant solenoid, just like we see on furnaces and water heaters here in North America. On your refrigerators, the typical North American refrigerator, we only have one solenoid on that gas valve. Here, I have 2. Now, on these, I check the resistance in them. I'm getting 46.3 ohms on this one and 47.2 ohms on this side. Those values are very encouraging, but resistance measurements alone can be a little bit deceptive. Just because the component has a reasonable resistance does not automatically mean it's functioning correctly. The windings inside might be fine, but it could be fouled out, okay? All the resistance is telling us is that the wind, all these little wires wrap round, that they're intact, that they're not burned or broken or anything like that. These gas valves are very different. In North America refrigerator, you got your solenoid over here. We hit that thing with 12 volts. You hear a click. Gas should flow through. You do not hit these with 12 volts. You hit them with 1.5 volts. The click can fool you too. Just because you hear a click, just because your resistance is good, and just because you hear a click, does not mean gas is going to flow through it. The resistance test only proves that the windings are good. The click only proves that the plunger is moving up and down, but there still could be a restriction and not allowing gas to flow through. All right, so Those are the steps I want you to go through as you're diagnosing and testing this and seeing if you can come up with where the wheels fall off the bus, okay? Hopefully this video gave you a good roadmap for where to begin. For those of you who enjoy the deeper technical level discussions, we have posted an extended version of this diagnostics over on our Patreon site. So navigate down to the description and you'll be able to get the link there. We have several different, what are they called, tiers over on the Patreon site. And we're going to go into the differences between the MES series and the AES series refrigerators here. We're going to go into the D plus and the S plus signals over there. We're going to look at how you would access the diagnostics mode, even though this refrigerator is not allowing us to do that. We're going to look at the gas valve system. We're going to do some testing on the gas valve system. We're going to take the burner apart, look at that little jet inside of there, and several other little tips and tricks that we're going to pick up on over on that side.